Guys, ball went great. All right. Are we ready? Yeah. Okay, great. Good afternoon. On August 13th at approximately 9:45 p.m., fire crews responded to a report of a fire at 1501 11th Avenue South. Upon arrival, crews encountered a large amount of black smoke from the third floor windows and heavy fire in the rear stairwell, which extended to all floors of the building. Crews employed an offensive attack strategy, attacking the fire from the interior and conducting primary searches of the apartments in the building while simultaneously rescuing several residents from exterior windows of the upper floors. Due to the volume of fire in the building and the indications of an imminent roof collapse, the incident commander switched to a defensive attack strategy, which involved evacuating all the firefighters out of the building and attacking the fire from the exterior. Due to the imminent roof collapse, fire crews were not able to complete primary searches of the building to include the top floor. The fire response was upgraded to 3 alarms due to the need for additional personnel. And although we were able to rescue a number of residents, tragically, we discovered yesterday that we were not able to rescue them all. Yesterday, upon being notified that a resident was unaccounted for, fire crews re-entered the building to search the collapsed portion, where we recovered 2 fire victims. One victim was an adult male, the second an adult female. They were both located underneath the debris of the collapsed roof in the same apartment unit. A search of the remainder of the building with the use of a cadaver dog from the Minnesota-State Urban Search and Rescue Task Force was completed today. I can now confirm that there are no additional fire victims in the structure. I would like to express my sincere condolences to the family and friends of the victims of this tragedy, and I pray that you find comfort in the coming days. I would also like to express my gratitude and appreciation for the firefighters who performed rescues and fought this fire. As a firefighter, one of the toughest things that we have to deal with is the knowledge that we are not able to save every life. Finally, I would like to express my support to the incident commander who made the call to switch from an offensive strategy to a defensive strategy. It's an incredible, difficult decision to make. But if he had not, we would likely be here talking about deceased firefighters in addition to the tragic loss of these 2 victims. And so with that, I will stand for questions.
Any word on the cause and how's the investigation going into that?
The investigation is ongoing, so we don't have a final determination on the cause as of this moment.
What are the procedures for you all when it comes to looking for those unaccounted for, looking to search through the building?
What are the procedures?
Yeah.
So our normal procedure is that we conduct a primary search during the fire. It's one of the first things we do. We always assume that somebody may be in the fire, even if we are told that nobody is or that somebody is not. So our normal procedure is to make a primary search of all apartments in the building, all portions of the building. In this case, because of the imminent roof collapse, we had to pull everybody out, so we weren't able to complete that. Our procedures also normally include a secondary search, which is done after the fire is brought under control, which in this case was hours after the roof had already collapsed, just to make sure that nothing was missed on the primary search.
Does the primary search, does that involve dogs as well, or is it primarily just firefighters and investigators?
It is firefighters. It is the first thing we do when the fire is going on, when the fire is still raging, is when we're conducting our primary searches to try to find anybody who might be trapped in the fire and savable right away. So dogs are only brought in after everything's over, and normally only in the when there's a collapse or something where we can't just go in there and search it ourselves.
How long did it, from the time it was determined to be a defensive fight until the roof collapsed, and what time frame was that?
I'd have to look that up. I don't recall it being a long time frame. It was, the fire was very involved. It was heading up the stairwell. It already made it to the top floor when we arrived. So I'll look that up, but it wasn't a long time.
How many firefighters were in the building then that had to get out?
In the building, I know we had at least 2 crews in there on fire lines and at least 1 crew in there performing primary searches. with another crew outside rescuing people from exterior windows. So probably about a dozen firefighters at the time.
Can you say at this point where in the building the fire started?
No, I can't say that right now. I'd have to look at the investigation, and all of that will be in there.
A resident we spoke to said her fire alarms didn't go off. Do we know if there were working fire alarms within this building?
I do not know. We'd have to talk with fire inspection services to see when it was last inspected and see what they had to say. So, no, I can't speak to that at all.
And were both of the residents found who were unaccounted for found on that top floor that you were unable to?
They were both on the top floor and in the same apartment.
Would you have conducted that search with the dogs if not for the report of the people who were unaccounted for?
We might not have used the dogs. We attempted to search it without the dogs first, and that's actually when we found the two victims. Finding those two victims kind of cued us into bringing the dogs, just in case, there were additional victims.
How long did that take to find those two once you started searching?
It didn't take long. We were able to find them pretty quickly. I would like to actually give, I'll call it a shout out, to the building manager who was able to tell us that he had a person unaccounted for. In a building this size, that doesn't always happen. But not only was he able to tell us that there was someone unaccounted for, but he was also able to tell us what apartment that person lived in. So we knew pretty closely where to look, and then we were able to locate those victims pretty quickly.
Are those victims still unidentified?
Yes, it would be the medical examiner that would provide that identification. I haven't received anything as of yet.
Describe the fourth floor with the roof collapse, what that, are there obstacles? Are things blocked off? Is it just treacherous to walk through? How would you describe that, Chief?
It's probably all of the above, yes. Things are, when the roof collapses, things are blocked. There's really no way through. You have to kind of pick your way through the debris to get to anywhere. Some of the stuff is extremely heavy. Some of the stuff is extremely, I won't say volatile, but unsteady, where you can cause additional damage or injury. So it's a slow process. You have to be very careful when you're searching through a collapse zone.
Is there an update on the victims who were hospitalized by the fire but were in serious but stable condition?
I don't have any update on them as of now.
What are the characteristics of a building of that age and construction that made this fire spread so quickly on Tuesday night?
Yeah, so it's an older building. It would be a wood frame building, likely. I believe it did have a brick exterior, but wood frame. I don't think it was old enough for it to be balloon construction, but in this case, when the fire is going up the stairs, it's almost like a chimney effect, and so it's able to go very quickly. A building of that size isn't required to have an automatic sprinkler system, so it didn't have that either. So it's one of our most challenging fires that we have. A building of that size that's not sprinklered, of that age and build, it can be a big challenge. I am kind of thankful that it happened at 9:45. If it had happened in the middle of the night at 2 or 3 in the morning, I think it would have probably been a lot worse.
So did the fire spread primarily through the stairs or through the exterior walls or?
Through the rear stairwell.
Is this still considered suspicious? I mean, I don't know.
That's part of the investigation, so I'll let them speak to that. But until I receive the investigative report, I don't want to comment on that.
This probably dovetails from that then. There are no details on the initial caller who had first mentioned that this was possibly started intentionally?
So I don't have any details on the caller, but that is something, certainly part of the investigation, and it's something that we're looking into. And so somebody that the investigators would certainly be a person of interest to speak with.
And I had seen that the building did not have standpipes. That was part of the challenge in fighting the fire. Does that mean that the building was in compliance with city code?
3-story building, it's below the size where standpipes are required. It helps if you have standpipes, but it didn't reach that threshold where we would require standpipes. I think actually our biggest challenge was the volume of fire that we encountered when we got there. It was a large volume of fire, so we were already behind the 8 ball when we got there. There was just no way for us to get enough water on that fire, spreading to all 3 or 4 floors when we got there to be able to make a difference. So I don't think that a standpipe really would have made a difference, given the volume of fire that we encountered.
What is the age of that building?
I'd have to look it up. I don't know that.
All right.
Thank you.